Good evening, my friends. How's everybody doing tonight? Sunday night, Big Chonis. Catching up on some Bitcoin price action here. Got a time for a quick episode of Talking Bitcoin Crypto with Chonis. We closed our week barely above our middle Bollinger, as our weekly Bollingers have tightened substantially over as we crossed into a new week here. Very similar price tightening as we had when we were right around 6K. Look familiar, people? And for the first time since July, we can say middle Bollinger support on the weekly is currently holding, as we have opened a brand new weekly candle above middle Bollinger support, as we've said for the first time since July. We have, I want to call this declining volume, but it's also relatively consistent volume, right? Now that's fine. Like, listen, we're seeing this consistent yet slightly declining volume, consistent yet slightly rising price action. Overall, declining volume. Coin market cap, Bitcoin still represents half of the crypto marketplace. Still ranging high in this volume, over 9 billion again for the daily. Look at our price action though in the 7-day. Bitcoin, ETH, Ripple, Litecoin, you know, not really getting the momentum. Binance Coin still is the juggernaut, still defying all the odds. Cardano, ADA moving. Even Tron had a nice little pop, definitely correcting a bit from that. You know, Bitcoin Cash still holding that little higher high there. But a lot of pullback here across the board on, let's call it our top 20s or so, but more or less still ranging in that upper ranging cycle. Daily candle, check it out. Lower bottom, bought up, lower volume. Look at this volume decline. Kind of fallen off a cliff the past couple days there, right? I mean, let's face it, really falling off the cliff there. Still holding middle Bollinger support on the daily, right? We like that. As we've opened a brand new day in Bitcoin, declining volume. Daily Bollinger is tightening, but not that crazy yet. And once again, we see our daily RSI above the 50 area, you know, 57 there. Broke below our rising channel, right? Holding this area is quite key, as it was resistance. Didn't really hold support there, and now we're breaking through once again. Daily stochastic still resetting, still ranging lower. Still running room to go lower. Slight slowdown. Whew, day 36 in our bullish OBV oscillator. Now coming down here, we were much higher several days ago. Losing our momentum, similar here, but listen, we're 16 bars longer than our initial bounce from the 3100s area. Daily TDI green below red, which is bearish, but both are still above the middle Bollinger. Curious to see how the touch potentially of our green to our middle Bollinger holds support. But we want to see green over red and both of them over middle. We're seeing red over green. We don't like that. And we're starting to get a little spread here too. Again, coinciding with that loss of momentum. OBV oscillator still strong. Sorry, OBV direct. Still strong and still a little bit more running room to come back and retest resistance turn support. Overall doll volume is shitty. just no money coming in the past couple days here, as we're still sub 4K as we drift. I want to do a quick scan here. I'm going to hide my Bollingers. I want to bring up my triple 50, 100, 200 MAs, moving averages, dailies. MA 50 support in the 3700s. MA 200 still up here, 4600 and falling. Jettison to our weekly, noticing MA 200 now is as high as 34.55. And our 50-day is 57.89 and falling pretty rapidly now. And you see over the next couple of weeks, this is going to really start to decline, as our volume as well. Monthly, we got about 1 week left in our month of March, right? MA 50 still untouched. Still untouched, and looks like it opens next month somewhere around 32.50. 32.50. Look at the volume this month, right? I mean, with 1 week left, we're getting close to that third month in a row of declining volume, which is something. I wanted to bring up the daily. I wanted to bring up my cloud. Still drifting in our cloud here. This is the only time frame where Bitcoin is still in the cloud. We have a bullish Kumo twist way out here in April. And we're still holding Tenkan-sen support, which is actually beginning to slowly drift higher, as our Kijin-sen is dead stick here around 37.50. So 37.50 is overall cloud support, right with our Kijin-sen, with a first touch of around the 3900s area. So there's a quick dip and a rip, or a quicker or a longer dip still holds bullish, even if we get down in the 3700s. You know, it's still bullish with the 3700 touch. But look at our volume. This is a daily. I mean, nothing like sock knocking off. EMA 12, EMA 26, daily. Look how we are just on EMA 12 support. Broke it intraday yesterday, similar as we broke it several days ago. Closed above. Okay, now we have this spread, still bullishly spread here on our EMAs. Initial support, and then, yeah, so there's still support in the 39s, corresponding with our near-term EMAs daily. We're falling under our 12-hour, though, finding initial resistance. Now, we've done that a couple times here, though, right? We loop, come back up, find it as support. So is this going to be different than the rest? Well, look at this. Look at how we turn bullish on the 6-hour, 1226 bull cross here that held later in the month. Barely held, but held. And right now we're retesting that once again and looking to see if what was once support, and look up, you know, we're being back tested here on the lower time frame. So again, all this is kind of coordinating based on the low volume profile for this slow drift down here, because we're not getting the buyers just yet as we're trying to push through our 4K, which remains resistance once again. Go back to our daily candle here. Now, what's the pattern? I mean, like, what's the freaking pattern here? Are we still, actually, really the weekly still keeps the rising wedge because of this ridiculous candle we had in like mid-February there. Let's get rid of this for a second. Let's get rid of this for a second. Notice this line here. Let's make this orange. Okay, resistance, 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 resistance. Resistance, so we closed below it last week and we've opened above it this week. So we are above this. Hold on, let's recalculate this for a second. Yeah, we are above. You can argue we are above. We opened above this resistance line that has been on linear scale, denoted since April, retested in July, retested again in October, retested again in November, retested again in March, midweek of, and has opened up above this linear line of resistance, now turned support for the first time since way back when. So that's notable, right? Even though our volume is shitty, as we still have this very tight wedge here. It's been a while since we've seen. I mean, when was the last time we saw this kind of price action? Like this shooting star-ish candle in this week reminds me a lot of, I guess it was on the daily. It was back here. Where was it? Yeah, it was. Remember this one here, where like it was in like at the end of August, and we shot up from like 64 to like 69 real quickly, and then we give it all back, and then like a week later we put in a higher high. You know, so we did something like that, found a consolidation, and then put one more leg in, and then ended up coming back quite precariously there. And now we basically shoot up back to our weekly here. We give a lot of that back, and then over the next several weeks, 1, 2, 3, 4, starting our 5th week here, we've got in almost all the way back of that loss of bullish momentum there. So week 5 green, bulls win another week 5, close bullishly a 5th week in a row, and yet we are still skeptical based on the extent of and the how do I say this, because of our sideways price action, I feel like the higher time frames are more meaningful. So look at our weekly RSI here, and let's really do a dive in here. Screw the daily. The daily really isn't doing much for me now. Like it's above 50, okay, which remains keeping my overall bullish bias, because a 50 over our RSI is still like working with some good stuff here. So we broke our linear resistance, right? So let's look at our horizontal resistance and figure out why we're hitting right here. Does that do anything? No. And listen, when we found our support-ish, tested in June, tested in August, tested in July, tested in October. Oops. Hold on here. We found out a support, and now we're back testing it on our weekly RSI. And this, we have to give deference up to, I'd say 43. Yeah, I'm cool with saying 43 on the weekly RSI is a decent back test area. So we have a little more running room potentially on the weekly RSI to perk a little higher there, and to test the rejection, the one support turn resistance, and currently right there. But if we just get rejected here as well, I'd be cool with that, because that still represents the area of support turn resistance. And now finding that back test. But the biggest thing to me right now is we have started a second week of 100 weekly stochastics. The 100 we have not seen since December 26th of 2016. We only got as high as 99.44 ivory level, okay, blue meth level, but not 100%. Since 3 years ago. Holy crap. And yet we've only drifted up hundreds of dollars over the past several weeks. We've gone so high in our weekly RSI. Sorry, our weekly stochastics. When we get high, right? We have a couple loop-de-loops, 3 in a row. We have an up-down. We have an up-down. And we have not really getting as high as we want, but still, that was, obviously that was our parabolas there. The fact that we're topped off this much going into a second week with both our indicators at 100, there's no running room here, yet we can still range higher price-wise and have these topped off intra-week with that rejection. There's nothing more to gauge here on the weekly stochastics because we're just pegged off. And I can bring up my monthly, which is showing that bullish separation here, which we like to see. Now, here's the thing, and I'm going to bring up, shit, this isn't what I wanted. Where's my other Bitcoin? Where are you? Bitstamp. Nope, that's BitMEX. Nope, that's not it. There we go. There we go. Whoa. Monthly RSI. Nope, that's not what I wanted. Monthly stochastics. Thank you, sir. Okay. Now, remember, our monthly stochastics, okay, the bottom of Bitcoin was not necessarily the bottom in our stochastics, people. Okay. And even with our uptrend of Bitcoin, way back when Bitcoin had found support, well, I got to get rid of some of this here, in the hundreds, 150, and then range for 10 months within a very tight, 30%-ish range, and then came down to a higher low, 198. So broke 200 once again. 1, 3, 6, 7, 8. 8 months later, it broke 200 once again. So note the stochastics then, and note the slight similarities now. Now, April 14, November 14, and the last dump. Okay, it was the last dump when our leading indicator hit 0, bounced, and then came back down, and then put in a higher low, but a lower low in the price action. So even though we're ranging up here, this parallel fractal, it could be here, okay, finding that low and just beginning to range. But we still could also be back in the sense here where it's okay to put in a higher low with our stochastic and a lower low. It's okay to put in a higher low in our price action. Sorry, a higher low in our RSI and a lower low in our price action. And we've seen that time and time again. You want to see the RSI bottom out, rise, come back and put in a higher low while the price action puts in a lower low. And that will quantify your bullish divergence, especially on your higher time frames like the weekly. We got 83 of my closest friends tonight. Pat Cantone, Low, Claiborne Taylor, My 2 Cents, Loopy Lou, Liberty Crypto, Tony Ballas, Bleeding Crypto, what's up, brother? Age 8 Products, what's up, my man? Joe Fredenberg, Blasberarian Canan, I like that. SS Swartz, thank you, sir, for the tip. Kind tip, sir. Appreciate it. Remember, guys, tipping is much appreciated. Joe Friedenberg, Myra Picarelli, thank you. Thank you for tuning in. Scorp Music. How about some thumbs up there? Remember to give a follow and the subscribe on Twitter, on YouTube as well. Paul L, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for the British euro. I love it. Or I guess it's just the euro. Maybe not so much British after all in the next couple months, right? So listen, monthly RSI, monthly stochastics, where there's an uptick across the board. but just as our weekly is hitting that resistance linearly, or sorry, horizontally, our monthly, let me change this color here. There we go. Is also retesting a range of resistance and support here. And again, we've seen many times that higher low with a lower low in the price action take hold. Still bearish in our OBV oscillator here. And look at this. Look at what happened last time in our OBV oscillator. We had this break to the negative, this pullback, this unable to get above zero line, and then this lower low. Okay, this is interesting. Okay, this sets up a similar situation where we get a rejection as we close in. Maybe we've already hit it, close into our zero line here, and then put in significant lower lows in our on-balance volume oscillator. We talk about fractals. Here's a fractal for you, which says we got much more bearishness to take hold here, especially with a parabola as high as we hit for 20K. I like the higher time frames again when we're on these when we're sideways for so freaking long here. Now again, Bitcoin goes sideways. Okay, what do we see? We see altcoins loving it, right? Taking advantage of Bitcoin's relative stability to kind of engage the chart as it will. Okay, again, we closed above key resistances that are currently being tested as support, whether it's our middle Bollinger on the weekly, okay, whether it's this resistance line on the daily. I guess it was on the weekly that you could see it too. Right? Yeah, on the weekly. And then that middle Bollinger also on the weekly. I mean, look how tight this lines up here. These are notable. And if the Stoke wasn't so topped off on the weekly, I'd say, all right, maybe this really does have some more running room. But maybe it's really at this point here, it's on the highest of time frames, the monthlies, that says, hey, maybe the Stoke on the weekly is super top off, but the monthly is just getting cranking here. Our volume has been just anemic. Look how low our volume is here. This is BitMEX here. We're back down into those doldrum areas where we tend, this is where we can drift for quite a while until we get that spike up like we got November 14th. And then again in December when we actually had some of that bull momentum there. These don't necessarily call bull or bear. They definitely just call overall price spikes. Alts look good. Look at that. Litecoin back over $60 here. After drifting lower through most of the day here. And it's like we had seen Litecoin, almost lead the way, if you will, right? In a very tight pattern. Through quite a while here, and we're almost wanting to see if Litecoin once again, is going to lead that way again, as we've started a brand new day here in Bitcoin's price action, right? It's just like Bitcoin can continue to range with this bullish intent, right? And because of the stability of the altcoin market, that's been where the money is, right? That's been where like the best gains have been so hard. And there's a theory about, there's been talk about, maybe has the altcoin market really truly bottomed here, right? Because well, that's new. Because we're seeing such strength in those altcoin markets in a way that we haven't seen for quite some time. And the amount of stability that the Bitcoin ranging for weeks here, like just weeks, has given tremendous gains to altcoins. You know, BNB just cranking, seeing that bullish divergence across the board on altcoins, while the bearish divergence was so prevalent. You know, as Bitcoin was collapsing through the 6K area there. So I didn't really want to go too long tonight because it's been quite a week. What do we got here? Almost a half hour. That's a good show here. But listen, we've started a brand new week above Middle Bollinger. We've started a brand new week above weekly linear resistance, now opened up as support. Okay, our volume has been steady yet not spectacular. And listen, after 5 weeks of this bullishness, do we have one more pop? You know, one more pop to retest our 4K? We've closed above 4K in our dailies many times. We have not closed above 4K in our weekly candle, right? We just haven't. All right, let's see here. Give me 1 second. So what we're watching for as we start this new week is we're looking for money flow. I'd love to see a little bit of more of a reset because we're seeing altcoins from a chart perspective it's just significantly more bullish. And it's like if Bitcoin is going to do a run like Litecoin did, or what Bitcoin Cash is trying to do, or even ETH, you know, Bitcoin would be well over 4K, maybe up to 4,400. Overall, since our major nasty bearish break here of 4K, we have not been able to get above $4,400 intra-week. And we have hit strong resistance multiple times around the 42.25 area as well. These are two key areas, like a pocket of price action. I just can't see us drifting back up to the 38s and the 39s. If we're going to do it, we're going to do it. You know, if we're going to blast up, we're going to blast up. And be curious to see if we can see kind of those, you know, the potential, the bullishness of the altcoins on almost in a way sets them up more for more of a retrace. And you could see, and that's kind of why I brought it up, the coin market cap, about how Bitcoin's at 50%, a little over 50.6, 50.5. So look at that, a little bit more money flowing back into altcoins. Still, the market still feels very comfortable to let money flow into altcoins, as Bitcoin is refusing to yield. Because for now, there's really no reason to capitulate, as these resistance levels are currently beginning to turn support on several currencies. All right, half hour is good enough. Guys, thanks so much for joining me. I appreciate the tips there from my good friend AJ Products and from Paul L. You guys are awesome. Keep you guys posted on what's going on in the price action of Bitcoin through the week. And I think we're going to see some pretty interesting, more clarity as the week progresses here, whether it's just in Bitcoin as well or in the overall markets, which I feel do have influence over crypto and definitely give a little more of a sense of free money flowing into this particular asset class. So we'll leave you here with our current price action. Couple hours into this new day, this new week. Give me a thumbs up. Appreciate your follow. Appreciate your support. Talk to you guys for the week. Big Chonis. Have a great night. Signing off.